Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Please come and have a seat. It's so good to see you. Come on in. Come on in and have a seat. It's wonderful to see you. It's the beautiful sound canter of Jews schmoozing with each other.
If we were on a canal, it would be the Shmuez Canal.
The Shmuez Canal canter. That's good. Come, have a seat. It is so good to be together, and what perfect words from our Psalms. Hinei matov umanaim shevet achim gam yachad. It is so good for brothers and sisters to be here together. We are brothers and sisters in Torah. That is something that links our communities, whether you're here representing Leo Baeck Temple or Stephen Wise Temple, or whether you're a guest this evening from somewhere else, or whether you're joining us online. We are brothers and sisters in Torah, and we are connected to this makom, this place. Sadly, for tragic reasons, we're feeling even more connected over these last few days because both of our synagogues were in the evacuation zone, and I see faces of people who had to evacuate their homes, including some of our clergy. And we're brothers and sisters in Toldotenu, in our people's history. Rabbi Chase and I were talking about this today. Then I called Rabbi Zeldin just about an hour ago. We spoke to him on the phone, and I asked him, how is it that Stephen Wise Temple came to Leo Baeck Temple for our religious school? And Rabbi Zeldin said it was for 4 years. And I think somebody here, maybe Doug, is that where you started religious school? Was it at Leo Baeck?
No, St. Albans.
Was that St. Albans? But you did, Karen? So there are some people who remember that Leo Baeck Temple welcomed us when we didn't have a facility yet. And Rabbi Zeldin told me that he and Rabbi Bierman of blessed memory, though they weren't always on the same side of every political issue, every now and then there was a distance. They're not always on the same side, but they were friends and they respected each other. And Rabbi Zeldin told me that he and Rabbi Bierman would have lunch together regularly. So that relationship between these synagogues goes way back. And now, flash forward 50 years or so, Rabbi Chasen and I have known each other since we were kids almost. And we have a lot of other connections in our congregation. Some of you know Rabbi Bernie, and she knows Rabbi Noble. And so,
In the biblical sense, you mean?
I was trying not to go there. I was really trying not to go there.
And what I meant to say is they are great friends, and they are spouses, in fact, and B'Sha'a Tova, in just a few short weeks, they will be bringing a precious baby girl into the world that we will celebrate. A joint production of Leo Baeck Temple and Stephen Wise Temple. And we also have, of course, this amazing connection between our maestro, David Cates, and our cantor, Linda Cates, who also know each other. And so we're so amazingly pleased to be able to be here together. Brothers.
And have known each other for some time.
Yes, and they have also brought beautiful children into the world. So all of these relationships, what we want to do, I'm going to invite Rabbi Chasen to say a few words. We're so glad that Leo Baeck Temple is with us, and thank God their facility was spared, but there was a lot of smoke damage, and there's just the smell is such that they're not quite ready to get back into their facility. So we said, please be with us tonight. And so we're really glad that Leo Baeck Temple is here. Why don't you look around the room? There might be some people that you don't recognize, and it might be because they're from another temple. Raise your hand if you're part of the Leo Baeck community tonight. Well, wonderful. You all sat together. So Stephen Wise Temple, descend on these beautiful people and introduce yourself. Take a moment to say hello to a brother or sister in Torah and in this place, and then we'll continue our service with one another. So these words are found on page 10. If you need help, they're in the prayer book. It is good and it is nice and it is fitting and it is beautiful for brothers and sisters to be together tonight to celebrate Shabbat and give thanks that we are able to be here together.
Turn now to page 24 in your Sidurim.
Shalom, Malachei Hashem.
We now turn to Lachuna Ranana, which you will find on some page in this prayer book.
13.
Yes, which is page 12. Yes, thank you. I still know the one in the Silverman prayer book, the conservative prayer book. On page 20, you'll find L'chadodi. So L'chadodi is very interesting because it's written in an acrostic. And it has the guy's name who actually wrote the acrostic in there, each verse. And his name was Shlomo Halevi. He didn't put his last name in, which was Alkabetz. But what a great thing for us to greet together the Shabbat bride, together as a community. So when we sing, when we rise at the end for Boi B'Shalom, and we say Boi Chala, and we greet that bride, we have a lot to rejoice for this evening and be thankful for in safety.
La la la
Top of page 21.
Page 22. The song for the Shabbat day. So if we all take a deep breath and join me with this refrain that we all pray for a Shabbos in the future that will have no tragedies, no pain, no fires, but just the love we have in this room. Mizmor, mizmor, shir, shir leyom ha-Shabbat. Mizmor, mizmor, shir, shir leyom ha-Shabbat. The whole world is waiting for Shabbat. The whole world is waiting for Shabbat. Tov lehodot l'Adonai ulezamer leshimcha elyon. ויגיד בבוקר חסדך, ואמונתך בלילות, עלי עשור, ועלי נבל, עלי היגיון, בכינור. כי שימחתני אדוני בפועלך, במעשה ידיך, ובמעשה ידיך ארנן. מזמור מזמור שיר, שיר ליום השבת. מזמור מזמור שיר, שיר ליום השבת. The whole world is waiting, waiting for Shabbos. The whole world is waiting, waiting for Shabbos. Tzadik atamar yifrach, כירז בלבנון יזכה, שתולים בבית אדוני. בחצרות רואינו יפריחו, תהיינו בסבע דשנים ורעננים יהיו, להגיד כי ישר אדוני. צורי, 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 ולא, 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 Avla tabo mizmor mizmor shir, shir leyom hashabat. Mizmor mizmor shir, shir leyom hashabat. The whole world is waiting, waiting for Shabbos. The whole world is waiting, waiting for Shabbos. Mizmor, mizmor, shir, shir leyom hashabat. Mizmor, mizmor, shir, shir leyom hashabat. Mizmor, shir, shir leyom hashabat. Mizmor shir, shir leyom hashabat. Lai, 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 lai. Lie, 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 lie. Baruchu et Adonai hamevorach. Baruch Adonai hamevorach le'olam ha'ed. Page 30. ומעביר יום ומהביא לילה, מבדיל בין יום ובין לילה. אדוני צבאות שמו, אל חי וקיים, תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני. המעריב ערבים. Page 32.
אהבת עולם, בית ישראל, עמך אהבת, עמך אהבת. תורה ומצוות, חוקים ומשפטים, אותנו לימדת, אותנו לימדת. על כן אדוני אלוהינו בשוכבנו, וקומנו נשיח בחוקיך, ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו לאורך ימינו, ובהם נגה יומם ולילה, נגה יומם ולילה. ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל. אוהב עמו ישראל. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shemot Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך
ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם להיות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם אלוהים. אני Adonai Elohechem. So we now turn to page 40 for Micha Mocha. And Micha Mocha, as sometimes those of you who study with me know, every day you cross the Yam Suf. Every day you have some ocean to cross, something to cross. And we crossed it today. We crossed over these evacuation boundaries, and we're here today. And what I love about this piece, okay, what I love about this piece is that it crosses the two of you, because the two of you wrote this piece. And I love this Micha Mocha. And so it's a work of love between the two of you, and we're going to cross the travesties of anything like the Jews did in the Yam Suf.
Wait, is that Eliana? Thanks, Eliana. So whenever I think of the Hashkivenu prayer, the first image that comes to my mind is our outdoor chapel at Leo Baeck Temple. I think of the trees, and I think of the hillside, and I think of all of us huddled together in this beautiful space of natural beauty and serenity, a Sukkot Shlomecha, a shelter of God's peace. And yet, after this past week, as both of our campuses and communities and homes have faced grave danger, I was reminded that it's not the trees, and it's not the chapel, and it's not even that beautiful hillside that creates that shelter of peace. It is the people who at 6 a.m. were willing to drive to the temple to come help out. And it was the first responders who went into the fire to help other people. And it was the communities who housed our Torah. And it was the synagogue who hosted us for services. And it was all of the people who were willing to open up their homes to others. And so tonight, as our communities are joined together, I think of this as a true Sukkot Shlomecha. This is a shelter of God's peace. So we join together in these words. The Hebrew is found on page 42.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom, leshalom. Vehamidenu malkeinu lechayim. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Amen. Shelter us beneath thy wings, O Adonai. Guard us from all harmful things, O Adonai. Keep us safe throughout the night, till we wake with morning's light. Teach us not wrong from right. Amen. Just your voices. Amen.
Please join us with Vishamru, which you'll find on page 44. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat לדורותם ברית עולם. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat לדורותם ברית עולם.
Beni uvein, bnei Yisrael, oti leolam, oti leolam. Veshamru
v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Ubayom Ashvi, Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash, Uvayom Hashvi, Veshamru Bnei Yisrael et HaShabbat לעשות שבת לדורותם ולעולם ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם
We now prepare for our prayer of healing, the Misha Baeck, which is really a prayer about fragility and gratitude. And there's few of us who aren't feeling a little bit of fragility in this moment and don't need a little healing in our lives or healing in this area in Los Angeles or really in this country and in the world. And in those spaces of fragility, when we are moving really close to that brokenness, we often have a sense of deep gratitude for how much we do have in our lives, for the love, for the relationships that we have, for the partners that we have. And so as we prepare for the Misha Baeck, just want to invite a couple moments of silence for you to whisper the names, whether it's for yourself or someone you love, someone in need of healing of the body or the mind, of the spirit, to bring their presence into this space as we prepare for the Misha Baeck. We join together on page 253.
May the source sustain who bless the ones before us. Help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say,
We rise for the Amidah on page 48. And it continues through to page 62. The right hand of the page, side of the page is the traditional, left hand is some creative aspects of the prayers. Please feel free to pray anything that is in your heart as well as the Amidah.
Sometimes it is in the midst of chaos and deep challenge that we discover the strength of the bonds that unite us. Perhaps discover their depth, their strength in greater ways than ever before. We at Leo Baeck Temple are deeply grateful for our friends here to the north at Stephen Wise. It is a beautiful thing for us to be able to make Shabbat together, for us to have shared in the traumas and challenges of this week, and to have been partners all throughout. When we think about what it is for us to come together in an extraordinary display of unity, while we know that all over our country and all throughout the world there is so much disunity, so much tension and stress and strife between people, and a willfulness about resisting the impulse to understand one another. We have a great hunger to take the unity that we're experiencing together on this Shabbat and to bring it out into every corner of this world, especially here within our country and where our ancient people's home resides. So much tension there, swirling both within and around our ancient homeland. And so together let us share words of prayer for our country and for our people's ancient home together. If you'll join with me in reading at the bottom of page 258. Together, O guardian of life and liberty, may our nation always merit your protection. Teach us to give thanks for what we have by sharing it with those who are in need. Keep our eyes open to the wonders of creation and alert to the care of the earth. May we never be lazy in the work of peace. May we honor those who have died in defense of our ideals. Grant our leaders wisdom and forbearance. May they govern with justice and compassion. Help us all to appreciate one another and to respect the many ways that we may serve you. May our homes be safe from affliction and strife, and our country be sound in body and spirit. Amen.
Avinu shebashamayim, Zur Yisrael v'goalo, Barechet Medinat Yisrael, Reishit Tzmichat Geulateinu.
O Heavenly One, Protector and Redeemer of Israel, bless the state of Israel, which marks the dawning of hope for all who seek peace. Shield it beneath the wings of your love. Spread over it the canopy of your peace. Send your light and truth to all who lead and advise, guiding them with your good counsel. Establish peace in the land and fullness of joy for all who dwell there. Amen.
Avinu shebashamayim, Zur Yisrael v'goalo. Amen. Selah. Amen. Selah.
I don't think I've ever seen this many things on the bema before. Well, it is certainly a privilege to welcome everybody home again. I know we have a lot of people here for different reasons. Some people are here because they're grateful just to get back into their homes. Some people are waiting to get back into their homes. Some of us are here for simchas. And we're lucky to be here. And it's really that? Oh, okay. Does this look a little too informal? So
we do also have the opportunity within these walls and everywhere we go to share a little bit of Torah. It just so happens that in this week's Torah portion, Vayeshev, we meet Joseph, the dreamer who would one day become viceroy, saving Egypt and its neighbors from starvation. It's a tale filled with sibling rivalry, conspiracy to murder, slavery, lust, and imprisonment. In short, it's the perfect Torah portion for tonight. Because Joseph's journey to power in Egypt begins in this parsha when his brothers sell him into slavery at a town called Dothan. But how Joseph gets to that town is worth a second look. Before Joseph's misadventures begin, misadventures that would take him from slavery to prison before coming before Pharaoh, Jacob, Joseph's father, sends the young boy to find his brothers in a town called Shechem. And so Joseph dutifully goes, but once he arrives, no one's there. Ultimately, the Torah tells us a man finds him wandering in the fields and asks, "What are you searching for?" Joseph replies that he's searching for his brothers, and the man reveals that he had overheard them planning to go to Dothan. And so Joseph follows his brothers and finds them in this town of Dothan. It's an odd interlude in an otherwise fast-paced story. As soon as Joseph reaches Dothan, his brothers begin to plot his ruin, and before long, Joseph is sold to slavers, accused of sexual assault in the house in which he was serving, and imprisoned, only to be brought before Pharaoh to interpret his dreams and ultimately to rise to the top of the Egyptian food chain and save all of Egypt and his family at the same time. There's a lot going on in this particular parsha, and yet the Torah takes time to let us know that some dude helped Joseph find his way to where his brothers were. Because none of this story would have happened without the unnamed man who discovered Joseph wandering the fields of Shechem. Had they not met one another, had he not told Joseph where he could find his brothers, then the brothers don't meet. No sale is made. Joseph never makes it to Egypt, never meets Pharaoh, never saves the ancient Near East from a famine of biblical proportions. And in short, we have no story. The story rests upon the appearance of a man so inconspicuous that we never even get his name. Our sages, who steadfastly believed that you could never find anything in the Torah that didn't have purpose and meaning, suspected that there might be more than meets the eye to this unnamed catalyst for Joseph's adventures. The 11th century commentator Rashi even suggests that the man is none other than the angel Gabriel, sent by God to ensure that Joseph makes it to his destination. Now, because rabbis can't really agree on anything, and you might not know that because you've never sat in one of our clergy meetings, but shortly after Rashi makes this suggestion, one of his successors, a man by the name of Ibn Ezra, a writer in the 12th century, says, "That's not true. The text is very plain. This is just an individual who happened to be passing by." Later, another 13th century scholar, the Ramban, offers yet another opinion, but this time perhaps a more inspirational explanation. According to the Ramban, every simple passerby can become an agent of God by choosing to acknowledge Joseph and help him find what he was looking for. This unnamed man transforms himself from a mere passerby into an agent of the divine will, an angel. Now, as our two communities congregate together to welcome one another and to welcome Shabbat this evening, the deeds of the angels remain at the forefront of our collective consciousness. We sit here tonight, unharmed, untroubled, and reassured, precisely because of the deeds of angels, the women and men of our emergency services who chose to dedicate themselves to our safety. And even now, as we sit in repose welcoming our weekly rest, they continue to watch over this very hillside, and they continue to fight in Angeles National Forest, in Rye Canyon, in Los Padres National Forest, and Ventura City, and in Murrieta and Bonsall. Like angels, they watch over us. Like angels, they put their lives in danger so that our stories may continue unabated. But they need not be the only angels in this story. For the unnamed man who spirits Joseph on his journey comes to teach us not simply that we should give thanks to those unacknowledged angels in our lives, but that it is our responsibility to become the unacknowledged angels in the lives of others. Whether it's offering a helping hand, giving an unjudgmental ear, or supporting the very angels that have supported us in our hour of need, we too can be angels. And should we choose to acknowledge and help those around us, then we too may one day see our great expectations fulfilled and enjoy the Shabbat that we sang of earlier. I'd invite you, if you would, to please join me in a moment of prayer, both for ourselves and for those who dedicated themselves to ensuring we could be here tonight safe and sound. God of the selfless, God of the strong and of the brave, grant your loving care to those angels who dedicate their lives to our safety, men and women who have answered the call of duty, of honor, and of service, who risk life and limb to extinguish the flames that would engulf our cities, our towns, our forests, and our countrysides. To those who risk life and limb among the first responders to natural disasters and man-made terror, whose split-second decisions may mean life or death, grant your protection. May they stay alert in the face of fatigue. May they stand true in the face of danger. May they return to us and to their loved ones in wholeness and in peace. And may we be inspired by their example to dedicate ourselves to the welfare of others, to aid the injured, to free the oppressed, to comfort the mourning, and to lift up the fallen. Let the deeds of our angels resound in our cities with passion and with courage, and let them shudder in our souls with reverence and with responsibility, making their divine message a source of blessing in our midst and in the midst of all peoples. And together we say, Amen. Shabbat Shalom.
It's a custom when we have passed through a difficult situation, when we have found ourselves at risk and come through to the other side to give thanks to God by benching Gomel. So I want to ask anybody who feels that they were in that situation, it might be all of us, but if you had to evacuate your home, for example, with very little notice, if you found yourself in a difficult situation that you are now, thank goodness for now, and may it continue on the other side, I want to invite you to please come up to the bima with me. I know there's some folks here who are in that category, and we'll say Birkat HaGomel together. And it comes from this Hebrew root. It's the same Hebrew root as Ligmol Chesed, Gemilut Chasadim, is when you do an act of kindness to someone that can't be repaid. When someone does something that enables you to live another day, to make it to tomorrow, how do you say thanks for such a gift? And so the blessing, we'll say the blessing and we can say amen, and there's a traditional response. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hagomel l'chayavim tovot shegamalenu kol tov. Blessed is the one, ruler of the universe, who has done these acts of kindness for all of us, who has done this act of goodness. And I'll say these words, and this is traditionally what we say back to all of these lucky folks who've made it to the other side. Repeat after me, please. Me. Shegamalchem. Tov. Hu yigmalchem. Kol tov. Selah. And it means, may the one who's done this kindness for you do kindness for you going on into forever. And let us all say, Amen. Amen. I want you all to stay up here because I'm going to invite our cantors to come and sing a blessing of thanksgiving for our entire community, for all those whose lives were at risk and who have made it to the other side. May it only continue. May we only find moments of goodness, and may we be grateful for the deliverance that we've experienced.
And you'll find the text on page 58.
They are kulam, they are kulam, Yitbarach ve'yitrama, Yitbarach ve'yitrama, Shimcha Malkeinu tamid le'olam la'ed. They are kulam, they are kulam, Yitbarach ve'yitrama, Yitbarach ve'yitrama, Shimcha Malkeinu tamid le'olam la'ed. וכל החיים יודו חסלה ויהללו את שמך באמת, האל ישועתנו ועזרתנו, סלע. ויהיה כולם, ויהיה כולם, יתברך ויתרמה, יתברך ויתרמה, שמך מלכנו תמיד לעולם לעד. ברוך אתה אדוני, הטוב שמך, הטוב שמך, הטוב שמך, ולך
And Kiddush this evening.
We have a bat mitzvah in the house. Sabrina, please come forward. Let's all turn to page 5. Sabrina Gansman becomes bat mitzvah tomorrow. And just to make it super exciting, we thought we'd keep her in suspense as to where her bat mitzvah celebration would be. And thank goodness we can celebrate right here at your home at Stephen Wise Temple. There are other simchas. I know there are birthdays and anniversaries and good things. So even in the midst of challenging times, we always remember to appreciate the smachot, the good things that we have to celebrate. And certainly a bat mitzvah is one of them. So let's join together on page 5 with these words of Kiddush.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafem. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu
מצוותיו ורצה בנו בשבת קודשו בעמל וברצון התחילנו זיכרון למעשה בראשית כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש זכר יציאת מצרים כי באנו לארץ
Chaim, Chaim.
The Aleinu is a very old prayer. Just how old it is, we don't know for sure, but it was probably written before the destruction of the first temple. And it contains the verse that is so well known to so many of us, Letaken olam b'malchut Shaddai, to repair the world under the rule of God. It's a phrase we've all heard before, that we are God's partners in the work of this world, in repairing it. These last few days have been a powerful reminder of how much is in our hands and also how much is not. As we turn to God with prayers that the fires would not cause loss of life or destructions of home or property, we also turn to the firefighters and others who could do all that they could to put out these fires. And it shouldn't be lost on us that that which can bring beauty can also bring destruction, and we see that with fire. We begin our Shabbat with fire by lighting Shabbat candles. It brings beauty to our lives, but we control that fire. Nature, one of God's gifts, can be beautiful, but we also know that from an earthquake or a raging hurricane or an uncontrolled fire, that at times nature can be devastating. Our world is humbling, and experience such as this in our own neighborhood remind us that we work with God in repairing the world. Or as St. Augustine so beautifully put it some 2,400 years ago, pray as if everything depended upon you, and then pray as if everything depended upon God, and work as though everything depended upon you. You'll find the Aleinu on page 282. Please rise.
למלך על כל הארץ. ביום ההוא, 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 יהיה אדוני אחד. ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא,
words of Kaddish Yatom can be found on page 294, our prayer of memory. If you are remembering someone who has died in recent days, if you are in a period of Shiva, the first 7 days of mourning, I invite you to please rise now. If you're in the period of Shloshim, the first 30 days of mourning, the loss of a loved one, please rise. If you're in the first year of mourning for a loved one, please rise. Tonight is a yahrzeit, the anniversary of the death of a loved one. Please rise, and if you care to, you could say that person's name aloud, and we'll try to remember right along with you. May the memories of all of our loved ones be for a blessing. I invite you all to rise in solidarity with those who are in mourning as we say these words of Kaddish Yatom, page 294. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah v'yalma divrach cherutei v'yamlich malchutei b'chayechon uvyomechon v'chayed chol beit Yisrael b'galau v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevarach le'olam u'lamei almaya Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh Yitzadar v'yitzalev v'yitzalal shemei d'kudasha barichu le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata ta'amiran v'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Osei shalom b'mromav Say shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the one who makes peace in the high places make peace for us here on earth, for us and all Israel and all humanity. And let us say amen. Amen. Before our concluding song, I want to invite someone here from the board of directors who's supposed to say something. Normally I get a little printed piece of paper that tells me that, but this week there was no printers. There was no paper. So I'll just say, Susan, that we have Wise Years coming up this Thursday. Everybody's invited. It starts at 10 a.m.-ish, something like that. It's going to be great. And you know who's speaking? It's the one and only. It's an artist who's speaking. It's Mario. Mario Muller's going to be there. But before Wise Years, which is coming up this Thursday, we have our Shabbat morning tefillah. And tomorrow morning, you're in for a real treat because the Leo Baeck Temple community and the Stephen Wise Temple community are coming together to make a minyan at 9:30 a.m. If you want to come a little bit early, our good friend Yaniv Dotan, who was named after that city that you mentioned earlier, he might have been the man. Yaniv is going to teach a little Torah for about half an hour right across the way in the chapel study. And then at 9:30 in Plotkin Chapel right here, we'll join together. So please come and be part of that experience. And we invite you to all sorts of wonderful things, whether it's here or at Leo Baeck Temple or anywhere around town, as long as we gather together as community for Torah and for Kehillah and for all of the values that inspire us, it's going to be for the good. Our concluding song, Shabbatika. Is there such a thing?
Shabbatika next Friday night is
December
the Sabbath
15th.
of Hanukkah.
It's the Sabbath of Hanukkah, and our sages called it Shabbatika. And they made a Winnie the Pooh Shabbanikia. And we have it for sale in the gift store too.
And it's at 5 o'clock. At 5 o'clock, Jews gather at 5 o'clock for spiritual Essen.
In
spiritual
Florida,
eating.
and they do that, exactly.
Latkes.
So that's Shabbatika. So we are so blessed to be together, and we want to go out on our way in blessing because we don't want to take it for granted. So let's invite all of the Rabbonim and all of the Chazonim to please come forward. We're blessed. Look at all these rabbis and all of these cantors. And we are on page 345. We're going to sing a blessing as we go out together.
Blessed as we go on our way.
Spirit.